I've kept it no secret that the Strix line of cards from ASUS have been my favorite in terms of overall performance and aesthetics with this new generation of cards. In some ways, the RX 470 Strix OC edition card, unfortunately, is a departure away from a lot of what I enjoyed about my previous Strix reviews. For starters, the backplate is completely removed, leaving just the exposed black PCB. Gone also are the full-length front RGB LEDs, which have been replaced with a minuscule RGB ROG logo on the top of the GPU shroud. Also gone is some performance advantage that a Strix OC card usually provides. While the core boost clock of 1270 MHz is at the top of the range for an out-of-the-box RX 470, the memory clock is not so. Coming in at 6.6 GHz on its 4 GB of GDDR5 VRAM, it's 400 MHz slower than my previously reviewed PowerColor Red Devil 470. Overclocking the card can, of course, overcome that deficit, but it's a shame that the Strix OC edition card isn't 100% competitive straight out of the box. Also note, to get the best performance out of the card, you have to put it in OC mode via ASUS's GPU Tweak 2 software. Focusing on the rest of the card, it comes with a black matte plastic shroud which is slightly flexible under pressure, but nothing you should concern yourself with. There's a GPU support bracket that runs along the top of the PCB as well to help provide this dual fan card with some extra rigidity given its loss of a backplate. I/O-wise, there's dual DVI-D outputs, a single HDMI 2.0B, and a single DisplayPort 1.4, with ASUS foregoing their dual HDMI setup that can be found on other Strix GPUs, which makes sense because the RX 470 is not classified as a VR-ready graphics card. For cooling, this 470 is rocking ASUS's last generation DirectCU2 direct contact heat pipes with dual wing blade fans that not only stays off unless under load, but are also remarkably quiet even when on. However, it's not like I had much opportunity to even hear the fans, as the card only ever got up to a max of 60 degrees in all of my benchmarking and stress testing. It's good to see that at least the cooler still works incredibly effectively on this card. And one more point about the cooling of the card. The RX 470 still does include a fan header on the end of the GPU to help give better power management to your case fans to make sure they only spin up under load. However, unlike other Strix GPUs, the RX 470 only includes one header and not dual. For power, there's a single 6-pin PCIe power input, a 5+1 phase design, and the card only drew a max of 125.4 watts during my testing, which is roughly 10 watts less than the PowerColor Red Devil 470, which likely helps to explain the much better temperatures on the Strix OC 470. However, while it draws less power, it also gives lower frame rates compared to the PowerColor 470. It's still a fantastic card for all-out 1080p gaming and some minor detail reduction 1440p gaming, but it lags behind its PowerColor counterpart by roughly 1 to 5 FPS depending on the game. This is largely thanks to the memory clock differences between the two cards. With regards to pricing, the Strix OC RX 470 does nothing to help its case here either. Coming in at the exact same price as the Red Devil 470 on Newegg, and significantly more expensive than that card here in South Africa, the performance value that you get from the Strix OC 470 is worse. The Strix card has a few extra features such as the GPU fan header on the end, small RGB logo, and better cooling performance, which can make it a more compelling value for many, but based on frame rate performance alone, this card comes up a little short. Up until this card, I had no problem recommending a Strix GPU in any given lineup. The higher-end Strix cards provided so much in terms of performance, being close to the top and competitive in price, but also providing some of the best aesthetics too. I feel as if the RX 470 OC edition is a step away from everything I loved about the other Strix cards, and that the non-quantifiable benefits, that is everything besides frame rates and temperatures, just don't really show up in this GPU, and there's others on the market that are just as compelling in that regard. However, the Strix OC 470 is still a good graphics card regardless of my comparison to its other Strix brethren. The cooling performance was outstanding, the card is essentially whisper quiet, has the extra fan header, and the performance, while being slightly lower, is still nothing to sneeze at, with it being a tremendous 1080p card. As was the case in my last RX 470 review, the RX 470 in general still suffers from being too closely priced to the RX 480 in the US to really recommend this card outright. In South Africa, the pricing is a bit better, but the Strix OC 470 comes very close in price to the cheapest RX 480, which again complicates the recommendation of picking up a 470. Let me know what you guys think. Does the Strix OC 470 provide enough intangible benefit to warrant being picked up over a better performing GPU at the same price? Or is the better cooling performance something that you're willing to make sure you have over a couple more FPS? I'm keen to hear what your feedback is. And with that, I'd like to thank ASUS South Africa for sending the Strix OC 470 over for review. Like this video if you found it helpful at all, dislike it if you disagree with me or my conclusions. You can subscribe to stay up to date on all of my tech related content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.